Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. V, CEO and Chief NP Coach here at the Clinician Life. I'm super excited because in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to become an amazing preceptor. And I think that this specific video can really be utilized for any kind of preceptor across all healthcare fields. I think that even in nursing or even in other healthcare fields or other healthcare personnel, such as like maybe even respiratory therapists or CNAs or MAs, I think that this can really transcend throughout all of those because the core message here is really about structure. So we'll get into that and talk a little bit about that. But for the most part, I'm a nurse practitioner coach, so I really am always focused on my content being for nurse practitioners. But again, if you think that this can be beneficial for somebody that is in healthcare or precepting, definitely make sure to share this video with them. All right, so first I want to talk about precepting in general. I think that precepting is a very noble and amazing thing for you to want to give back to your profession and really help other nurse practitioners or other healthcare workers grow. And we are all not born teachers, right? So it's something that we really need to learn how to do. And I think that it's something that we really need to be committed to, because if we are going to accept students, then we really should be committed to their success. And in order to do that, I think that there's certain steps that we need to take in order to make sure that there is a successful relationship between the two, right? So let's go ahead and start talking about how you want to start that relationship, right? So I think it's important for you to interview your candidates. And there are several benefits to this. For one, a lot of schools will just give you the students and they'll say, okay, here's going to be your student for the semester, and that's basically who it is. And when that's the case, you don't really get an option of, where they are in their semester. Sometimes you can request certain semesters for you to be a preceptor in, like if you would rather have a preceptor in the last or a preceptee in the last semester of maybe NP school or nursing school, then you can definitely request that. But I would even take it a little bit further to actually interview them and make sure that they're going to be a good fit for you. I don't know how many times I've seen these relationships just not work out, and I've heard horror stories really about, other either nurse practitioner students or even other preceptors that have said, oh my gosh, they just weren't up to par, or we didn't get along, or, things just didn't work out. So in order to really avoid any of those situations, try to see if you can interview them. And if you can interview them, then there are certain things that you want to make sure that you hit on your criteria. Number one, are you the type of person that really doesn't have a lot of patience for brand new, very first semester students, right? Because this is the first time they're getting hands-on a patient. Then maybe you want to request a student that is toward the end of their program. I think that if you interview them, you're going to make sure that, they're competent for up to par to your standards, right? You're going to get along with them, that you're going to like teaching them, and that you're going to have a good time teaching them. I think that it's going to give you experience in interviewing. That's really a great benefit too, that you're going to get experience in interviewing somebody and really leading them and assessing what you did right in that specific interview and how you can do better for your next interviews. I think that it's also going to help ensure that you like teaching the person. So I know I said this a little bit, but I think that you really can ask about their learning style. So, really understanding how they're going to learn best and if that's going to match up with your teaching style, right? Some people like to learn hands-on, and maybe you're somebody that wants to take it really slow before you let them really start getting hands-on experience. If that's the case, be upfront with them. Give them the expectations at your interview or even on first day. And these are the expectations. This is what I'm going to be guiding you and really how I work. All right, so as you set expectations, I think that you should really give them an orientation as well. Give them an orientation to the team, to the computer system, to the way that you work. It's going to be really important for them to really get a good understanding, and everybody else around you to know who they are, right? Let them make sure that they meet them and that they talk to them for a little bit so that that student feels comfortable. If they need to delegate or if they need to ask a question that maybe you're not around, that they can feel comfortable going to the other staff and asking the question. I think it's really important for you to also talk to them about the patient population that you're seeing there. Maybe you see more diabetics in the clinic, or maybe you see a lot of cardiac patients, so that they can upfront start to read about those patients and start to prepare themselves for clinicals. I also think that you should really let them document independently. EMR documentation is such a skill, and if you can really start to teach them how to do that effectively and efficiently, they will start to get the hang of that, and that will literally set them up for success for the rest of their career. So if you can help them by allowing them to learn with you, then that will really benefit them. But it'll also benefit you, right? Because if you let them do that early on and they start to get better, then you won't have to do all of that documentation yourself. Of course, in the beginning, you're going to be reviewing their documentation, making sure that you give them constructive feedback. All of that's going to be really important, but I think that if you let them get some hands-on experience and really get some experience doing that documentation and really constructing that note, then they're going to really be set up for success. All right, so let's talk about setting goals. During the orientation phase, I really think that it's going to be important for you to set some goals as to what they're going to learn in this semester. A lot of times their school will give them like a certain rubric or an outline of where they should be at and what they should be doing. I would use that as a guide and really set some measurable goals that you can follow up with periodically during the semester. For example, if you want to set a goal on, maybe you are going to be seeing, you set an expectation of, I would like you to see 3 patients in the morning and maybe 3 patients in the afternoon independently. And then we're going to work up from there, right? So that you can really start to give them an idea of what that's going to look like. Now, the same thing for maybe effective diagnosis, right? So maybe you say, I want you diagnosing at least 50% of these patients accurately by the middle of the semester or something like that. And of course, depending on where they're at in the program, but giving them some guidelines and some goals to reach for and giving them some expectations so that they know, okay, I have got to meet this, will really help set them up for success, because they're going to know where they need to go, and they're going to know and have a measurement of whether they're meeting expectations, whether they're meeting the goals. Setting goals is also going to help the student learn and grow, but also they usually have those faculty members that come and visit. Then you're going to be able to really show them and share about the student and how they've grown and really demonstrate all of the growth that they've had while they've been with you. And so let's talk about constructive feedback. I think it's really important this is a sensitive topic, and the way that you give feedback is really important, because and I know that there are different viewpoints on this, and some people say it's tough love, or we sometimes have this saying in nursing where we eat our young, right? And I think that this is a really bad way to really forward when it comes to feedback. I think that giving actionable and constructive feedback is going to be the best way that you can really help somebody grow. By giving them tough love or really just saying it how it is, that doesn't necessarily always work with everybody. Sometimes people can shut down and not hear what you're saying and only hear the negative, and then they feel overwhelmed and really can't move forward from that. So really being sensitive to somebody and the way that they receive feedback is going to be really important for your students' growth. And ultimately, the ultimate goal of that relationship is for them to grow in that specific semester with you and be successful, right? You're setting them up for their career. And if you want to be a successful NP preceptor or even just a healthcare preceptor, I think it's important for you to really learn how to give this good feedback. So let's talk about how that would look, right? So think about actionable items. So let's say they're not meeting their goals, and maybe they're not seeing the amount of patients that you've set them to see, because maybe they're running behind, or maybe they're just being overwhelmed with little things. Try to identify what it is that they could be doing better and talk to them about how they can really improve, right? So maybe ask them what they could do to really improve. Sometimes asking them the question and making them think about it will actually come up with the answer, right? So think about, okay, well, I see that you are not meeting your goals. Maybe you're only seeing 2 patients per day. Then, what's going on inside the room that we could really work on? Is it that you're not being able to focus because maybe the patient's taking over the visit and you're not really guiding them on, what questions you need answered, or finding out exactly where they're struggling and then really being able to pinpoint that and give them some feedback on how to improve that. Likely a lot of what they're struggling with, you struggled with, right? Because you were a new grad at some point too. So also consider that and think about, okay, what would I have really benefited from if I was in the same situation? So think about how you could help them through that and then continue to set the goals and maybe even adjust the goals. If you need to adjust them and really just do something different or pivot, then absolutely there should be room for that. All right, so at the end of the semester, you should really have a really great growth with your preceptee and really had some amazing conversations, some amazing teaching lessons for them, and hopefully they are ready to go on and really grow on to the next semester or maybe even on to graduation. So I hope that this video was helpful. I actually would like to create something that would help you sit down and guide with your preceptee so that you guys can set some goals together and set some expectations. If you think that would be beneficial, comment down below, let me know, and I will definitely make sure to upload that into the description box and let you guys know. Also, go onto my website, sign up for the email list, and then you'd also get some content in there that is not posted here and would be definitely beneficial for nurse practitioners. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Make sure to subscribe, hit the like button if you felt like this was helpful for you, and share this with anybody that you think would benefit. All right, see you later.